Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how I shoot and edit my scrunchie photos and my headband photos for my Etsy shop. Right now I'm filming on my phone just because obviously I've got to use my DSLR to take the shoot, and that's what I normally film my videos on. So if the quality is a little bit different right now, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to use this camera again when I'm editing the photos, but right now I just need to use it to take the photos. So all I'm doing right now is I've laid out one of my dresses that I sell as well, and it's in this beautiful blush color. I like using a piece of clothing or a piece of fabric or a sheet or something like that for my backgrounds, just so it's not totally flat. It's got a little bit of texture. I like having that linen in the background. So that's why I'm using a dress as my backdrop here. And I also just really like the color of it. It's one of my brand colors, so it works really well with all my other product listings on my Etsy and potentially on my website as well eventually. And it stands out a bit more than just using a plain white background, which I do still sometimes use, but I like putting in color when I can. So I've just been laying out some scrunchies in groups because I'm going to start selling them as sets instead of individually. And I've grouped them into their little groups, and now I'm just taking photos of them as a group. And then once I've done that, I'll go and edit them. But I'll just show you guys while I take some more photos. And I've got just one headband, I think, to take a photo of today as well, and some new scrunchies with the really long ribbons hanging down from them that I'm going to photograph today too. So I hope you enjoy the video and that you can learn something from it. Let's do this photo shoot. So I've just lined up this group of scrunchies for now. I like to do a few different shots, some like this, some with them maybe stacked up a bit more like that. And I just move it around until it looks right to me. Sometimes I do photos without the tags on, but because I've already got the tags on all of these products, because they're an older product that I'm photographing again, I'm just gonna do them with the tags on today. And then I'll also do individual shots of each scrunchie so that the buyers can see what they look like separately. And right here next to me, I've actually got this cardboard cutout thing, which has my face on it. I'm not gonna show you guys right now, but it's this stupid photo that my boyfriend bought to be seated in a Sharks game back when there was no one allowed to go and watch the footy. He bought a poster of me for them to stick on one of the chairs, and he didn't want me to get rid of it, but I actually used the back of it. I'll show you the back side of it. It's just that white, I forget what you call this, like foam core or something I think it's called, or core flute. It's just like plastic, and I use that side of it to reflect light back onto the shadows of my scrunchies and different things that I'm photographing when I need to. And currently I'm just next to one of these big windows. It lets a lot of natural light in, and there's clouds today, so sometimes I get really dramatic shadows and sometimes they disappear. Like right now it's a bit more filtered light, so it comes in it comes and goes as the clouds go. So I'll just do a couple more shots of these like this, and then I'm going to do the individual shots of these, and then I've got 2 more collections to shoot, and also the headbands and the other kinds of scrunchies that I'm doing today. I try to use natural light as much as possible too. My flash does like to pop up because I'm only using the automatic settings because I don't know a lot about photography. I don't know enough to fiddle with it too much, and I like it to just be as quick as easy as possible. So I always just use the automatic mode, but sometimes when that sun does go behind the clouds, the flash does want to pop up. So I just try and re-angle myself so that more light is getting in the shot. And if I do end up with some photos that have flash lighting in them, when I'm editing them, I decide whether I can make them look more natural by editing them, or I just don't use those photos. It's getting really hot next to this window now. So one of my favorite tools that I always use are just these lint rollers. I have my rabbit, and we're actually getting a kitten soon too. So there's always fur in the air, and especially in this building, it seems to be quite staticky, and so like dry. So there's often like bits of Pepper's fur floating through the air. So to combat that, I just always use one of these, and if I see anything or any dust on the scrunchies as I'm photographing them, I can just give them a quick once over. Same with my garments, and that usually picks up anything that I don't want on there and keeps them nice and clean. So I always just go over that because fur always shows up in photos. If you do a photo shoot and then later you realize there's fur on something that you were shooting, or hair, it's so bad. So I make sure I do that, and then I take my photos. So I have this one that is like with disposable sheets. You just peel off the sheet when it's covered in too much stuff. But I also recently got some reusable ones, and they have like a silicone or some kind of coating on them that you can actually rinse under water, and that they also work pretty well as well, but they're a lot smaller than this. So I found those at Spotlight. I think it was like $2 for 2 together in a packet. So when I haven't got those nearby though, I just use one of these, and I always take these to photo shoots. So I'm not the best photographer in the slightest by any means, but I have learned a lot about my product photos along the way simply by doing it, practicing it, but also by watching a lot of videos. There's a few on Skillshare. If you guys are already on Skillshare, I might link them down below. And if I can find any YouTube videos that I've found helpful, I will leave them for you as well. But it's all been a lot of trial and error. I used to take photos just on my phone, and when I learned how to use this camera a bit more, because I've had this for a little while now, but I was kind of scared to use it, or I didn't know how to edit my photos. So I learnt more about how to use it, and my photos definitely got better when I was using this camera. Not that you can't just use an iPhone, but I think my other problem was I didn't really have somewhere with a lot of daylight that I could shoot consistently. At my last place, it was like the bottom, it was like a basement of someone's house, and there was only one wall that had windows on it, and then there was a balcony over the top of that, so there wasn't a lot of natural lighting coming in. But if you guys have seen one of my last vlogs, there was I did a photo shoot there of me wearing some dresses, and like it worked pretty well, but it was just very hard to set up and to do consistently, whereas here there's so much light coming in. I use this spot near the window a lot. And I guess like a few things that I've learned about my photos are how important it is to like use your white space or your negative space, and how you set things up for the shot, like the composition, learning about how you shouldn't have anything like hanging out the edge of a photo or pointing off the edge of a photo, because that leads the eyes off the image instead of drawing attention to what you're trying to photograph. So there's lots of different tips and things like that that you can learn about in videos and things like that. So I'll try and leave some good resources down below. But other than that, my best advice if you're trying to take your own product photos as well would just be to keep practicing, and there's nothing stopping you from updating your product photos as often as you like. If you're selling on Etsy like I am, you can just add new photos whenever you feel like it, or you can even keep the existing photos there and do a whole new photo shoot that shows your product in a different light. I did that a few times when I was first shooting my scrunchies. I was doing them all on white backgrounds, and then I started putting them on one of my denim skirts just to add that bit of texture in the background. And now again, I'm using a different piece of clothing that I'm shooting them on top of, because that's more fitting with the overall theme that I want on my Etsy at the moment, so that all the colors fit nicely together. And also even just the fact that I'm regrouping the scrunchies so that they're in a little group that looks like it goes together and it's like its own little collection, and just making it look more appealing to buyers. And the same goes for equipment and investing in equipment. You can start with just your iPhone, like I said, and just using natural light. I think that's the best place to start. But over time, I've built up different things that I now use. This core flute poster thingy that I'm using as a reflector was just something I already had, so that was really good. But obviously I've spent a bit of money investing in my camera, but I use it all the time now, mostly for my videos, but also for my photo shoots. And like a tripod, which I'm not using today, but when I do shoots of me wearing clothes, I definitely need that tripod. But besides the obvious equipment, like getting a good camera and, you know, maybe some studio lighting, but if you have natural lighting, you don't really need that. I think apart from that, it comes down to just you being really handy with what you can figure out that you can use without having to buy too many expensive things. The other thing that I've just invested in, it cost me about $30 to get some of these acrylic cylinders. They're going to be about this big. I think I got a cube and a cylinder or something like that. I got them off AliExpress. So they're taking a while to come here because they're coming from China, but I decided to get those to use as little props when I'm taking photos of accessories. So instead of everything just being flat, I can kind of prop them up and make them look a bit different. And because they're clear, the light can come through. And I just thought it'd add a little bit of dimension to my photos. Unfortunately, they haven't arrived yet, so I wasn't able to use them for this shoot, but when they come, I'm sure you guys will see some photos that I take with them. The other thing I've thought about investing in is getting some big banners printed at Officeworks to use as backgrounds for my photos. I know that you can buy online some pre-printed background images that you use as like a, I don't know what to call the backdrop, I guess. When you go to a photo studio, a photography studio, often they'll have like a roll of, it's like fabric or paper or something, and they've got different colors and they pull it down and it's like a screen behind the photo shoot. And I've had photographers use that in my shoots before, but for something small scale like this, I just thought I could print some small banners from Officeworks and use them in the same way, but get different textures or different colors printed on them so that they suit whatever shoot I'm doing at the time. So I will hopefully get all that stuff in the near future and I can show you guys my new photography setup. But for now, this is how I've been doing it for the last couple of years, especially since I've been making scrunchies and headbands and things like that, just shooting like this. If you guys have any other equipment that you use or things around the house that you use as part of your photo shoots, if you do this kind of thing yourself, please leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing for your shoots, and it could just be really helpful for anybody else watching the video. I know that I could use any advice that you have, especially photography advice, because I'm very much a beginner. If I've got anything for you guys that might be useful to you, I'll leave it down below. Okay, I'm back at my desk now with my computer. I've just taken the other SD card out of my camera and I'm about to import all of my photos into Lightroom. So I use Lightroom mainly because I already pay for the full Adobe suite anyway, because I use Photoshop and Illustrator and Premiere Pro all the time. So I pay for the plan that comes with everything. It is pretty expensive, but I kind of don't really have any other choice because I need all of those programs that I use. So I recently started learning how to use Lightroom in the Adobe suite, and that is what I'm going to use to edit my photos today. I've imported all of my photos into Lightroom. I'm just going to go over the basic things that I normally do when I'm editing my photos. I honestly don't do that much. I just adjust the white balance a little bit and I brighten them up and crop them and things like that. So I'm just going to show you with one photo. I'll choose one of my scrunchie photos that I've taken today. As soon as they upload, they're just uploading straight from my SD card, so I'm just waiting for that to finish. So you can see this photo is pretty dark at the moment, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to crop it first so that I'm only dealing with the part of the photo that I actually care about. I usually do a 5x4 photo for my Etsy product photos. Now, sometimes I just use the auto feature to see what they're going to do to the photo first. Brighten this up a bit. Just to see what it looks like when they do their standard automatic corrections. And that actually looks pretty good in this one, but I'm just going to come in and raise the exposure. And I think I'm going to leave the shadows how they've got them. Sometimes I like to bring up the saturation a bit. Just to show off all those colors in here, like that blue. And I think that's all I'm going to do for this photo for now, but I will also come down, and Lightroom has this box you can tick to enable lens correction for bulging, distortion and edge darkening caused by lenses. My lens does tend to cause a little bit of edge darkening and I think a little bit of distortion, so you can see when I tick this there's just a very slight change, and because I've already cropped it you probably can't see those edges, but that is something I use all the time as well, and I think I'm pretty happy with this photo. But what I do is I edit all of the photos and then I go through and check that they all match and they all look like they're part of the same photo group. The good thing that you can do in Lightroom that makes everything really nice and easy is you can Command C to copy the edit settings and you can paste them onto another photo. So I can do that right now and it'll be the exact same edits that I did, and then you can just tweak them a little bit. So I find that really useful, and then you still just have to go in and crop all the photos as well, but that's all right. I can go and do that. So I'm just going to speed through some of my photos, and if I do any other edits that I haven't spoken about already, I will slow down and talk to you about those. Okay, so here's something else I use here. Now, just remember, I am not a photographer and I don't really know what I'm talking about, but when I brighten up my photos, and sometimes you can see it's like too bright, like this is just washed out here, it's just all white. This graph kind of shows you where things are blowing out like that. So if I move this down, you can see these move more into like a normal zone, whereas up here where everything blows out, you can see those arches in the graph are showing that the light is too much. I don't know how to describe this in photography terms, but you use that graph to kind of guide. You don't want these peaks to be outside of the graph, from my understanding. So I do use that as a bit of a guide, but also, I mean, just visually you can see like that's too bright, so I'm going to bring this one back down and then maybe drop my whites a little bit. And then that graph is more centered. So I do use that as well, if that's helpful. You probably need to go and find an actual photographer's guide and instructions to using Lightroom. That's going to be much more informative than mine, but that is something else that I use in Lightroom that I find helpful. So I've edited all of my photos to the point that I'm pretty happy. I've got heaps of different angles and groups and separates so that I've got enough for my 10 spots when I list on Etsy. Now I am planning to get my website up and going again in the near future, so I can always come back and crop these a different way specifically for my website, but I like the 4x5 format anyway. So I'm going to export all of these now in like a low-ish resolution so that I can upload them to Etsy, because Etsy have like a maximum upload file size, so I usually have to make them quite small, especially when I've taken them on my DSLR, because it takes really big photo sizes. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'm going to update one of my listings so that I can show you guys how I do that. So I just wanted to come in here while I wait for my photos to export and talk to you guys about how I know when I'm telling you that I use my DSLR and Lightroom to take and edit my product photos. That could be something that's out of reach for a lot of people, too expensive or whatever, but I just wanted to let you guys know that you can still take beautiful product photos on your phone if that's all you have. And actually Adobe have a free mobile version of Lightroom, so I'm not sure what features it doesn't have compared to what it does have, because I have this version and I haven't actually used the free version on its own. I think all you lose is the ability to share, like I can edit on here and then I can go on my phone and I've got the same version of the photo on my phone. So I think it's just little things like that. I'm pretty sure it's still a very robust editing program that you can use for mobile. So if you don't have Adobe Suite, you don't have to go out and buy it. You can just download the free app and just use your phone to take the best photos that you can. Like I said, look up tutorials on composition and on lighting and things like that to get you started. That's kind of the most important things for product photography, especially at the beginning. And like I said, I'm not a pro at this at all. I just learn as I go and pick up different things, and then I might do a shoot where I go, hey, I think I actually want to learn a little bit more about this, and then I'll look up that specific part of photography, whether that's better ways to use my camera or lighting or different lenses and things like that. I do have 2 lenses. I really only know how to use one of them properly, but anyway, like I said, Skillshare, YouTube, different things like that are a great way to start. Some blogs have good information on product photography. I might link some YouTube videos that I have found helpful, and I can tell you some photography classes I did on Skillshare as well. So I hope that has been helpful. I'll show you guys how I make a new listing on Etsy and how I use these photos in that. So usually when I make a new listing on Etsy, I duplicate one that I've already got because I have a lot of the same information in there that I'll need, like the content, the fiber content and things like that for these other scrunchie ones, for example. So I'm actually going to duplicate one that is sold out, I think. So I need to go into my sold out. So this one here I'm going to duplicate because that is a set. And I'm going to get rid of all these first photos, but I'm actually going to keep that last photo there because that is a photo of my packaging, and I just use the same photo for all of my scrunchie listings and small package items. Okay, I'm going to make this listing the one that has this pink and red and yellow scrunchie in it. And I have a few of the same photos, so I need to make sure I only pick 9 photos and that they're all different. So I'm going to pick, these are my 3 individual shots. I'm going to pick the ones that I have in the portrait format are usually, I just have those for Instagram, and I try and keep the landscape photos for Etsy. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've only got 8 here, but I don't really want to use this one as well because it's kind of the exact same photo. So 8 is fine for now. And I like to play around with the first photo because it's going to be the thumbnail photo. I just move that one to the end. This here, I want this one to really stand out, so I have a look at what it's like if I crop this one that I've already got here, and then if I don't use that one, I'll probably use this second one. I'm not 100% happy with this one, but I can always take photos again another day and update it. But for now, I'm going to leave it with this one. I might show you guys another one as well, just so that I can show you one that I'm really happy with. Okay, I'm going to do this set here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I've got 9 photos there, plus my packaging photo that I'll move to the end again. I think I like that one for my thumbnail. It makes it pretty clear the different scrunchies that come in this set. Yeah, I think I'll stick with this one, and I actually won't zoom in too much. It's actually like 4:40 now and I'm really tired, so I'm not going to update the rest of the listing now, but what I would normally do is come in and update my title because I've copied this listing. Obviously this is not the right title for this set of scrunchies, and yeah, update the description and the colors and things like that. So that is how I take and edit my accessories product photos. Obviously when I have to photograph a fashion piece like a dress or something like that, it's a bit of a different kind of fashion shoot because especially when I do the shoots like I did last time where I'm wearing it as well as taking the photos. I might be able to show you guys how I do that another day. I hope this video was helpful and that you guys learned something. If not, that you just enjoyed hanging out with me while I worked on my Etsy photos. If you guys have any tips to add, please leave links down in the comments below. I'd love to go and see if you've got a video on product photography, anything like that that you can help out me or the community with. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you did make it all the way to the end of the video, leave a camera emoji down below so I know who you are and I can thank you personally. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I'm going to be putting out new I'd Rather DIY episodes soon. I have lots of things that I really want to make, and eventually I'm going to show you guys how I dye fabric with onion skins. So I'm looking forward to putting that one together for you. I don't know how long it's going to be, but hopefully very soon. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!